And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Farthest Frontier. This is going to be the 5th part of the second stream. So if you're watching YouTube, this should be the 10th part in the 1.0 run. We're going to get the city walled in. We're working to improve the desirability in our city, so we can improve the sort of housing density of the zones. We do have a couple that are, in fact, large house, which is tier 3, although they're not very many. At which point we're going to be wanting furniture and glassware to go up to tier 4. 4 livestock animals will be born. Oh, it's not telling me which 4 on that breakdown. 2 of them were chickens. Probably one of them was a goat. It might have been 2 chickens, 2 goats. And I just bought the chickens, so those chickens were reproducing fast. New trader has arrived. Can load up more soap to sell you. Let's do that. And some candles. Oh, someone got stricken with rabies. Crops lost disease. Crops lost disease is probably better than the alternative, which is crops lost to animals eating it. Let's assign a few more traders to get stuff delivered a little faster. Doesn't necessarily make it more prompt, but... send the gold to the town storage. Nothing I really want to buy off of you. Four new villagers born, which probably means want to build another house. And we can see the difference in the 2 storehouses. So this is the upgraded storehouse. So storehouse provides 2,000 storage by normal. Upgrading it gives it 4,000. And we are equipped to handle that upgrade right now, so let's do that. 8 new people want to migrate in. We'll accept. We do have a batch of raiders inbound. Let's, as a response to that, recruit some light infantry. I'm actually going to recruit a full batch of 12 here. Send the new people to defend that as the price of admission. That may be the case. Well, we got 8 people, so I'm actually sending the 8 new people plus 4 other people. But don't worry, unlike the last batch that died in service to the country, these guys got armor. Well, not all of them. Most of them. Most of them will have armor. We got some halberds for them to wear. Not all of them. Yeah, some of them are gonna make do with leather armor. And no shield. Oh, that's a pretty large host. Like the combat area, ring the bell. Interesting, there's a gate right that they could have tried to bash through, but nope, they're going around. Although going around maybe isn't super dumb because there's just a hole in the wall. There'd be a hole in the wall. A villager has died. Enemy's cavalry did manage to break through to the town center. And we have a victory.
Your orders.
And we only lost 2 soldiers carrying out victory. Given the fact that I don't think I had 12 sets of armor, we probably lost a couple of guys who didn't have the best armor. And the Twitch chat's responding, reminds me of the movie Enemy at the Gate, where they did not have enough guns, so each were in pairs. When one died, you would pick up the rifle. Yes. I think that's related to Stalingrad. That was usually not the Russians' problem. The Russians didn't have problems usually with giving their troops rifles. Historically, most of the time it was the other way around. Where they had issues where they had plenty of rifles. Everyone had a rifle, everyone had a bayonet. Twitch chat saying you can disable raids. Yes, there's a pacifist mode in this game, so you can turn pacifist on. Not enough shooters. So in the Russian army during World War II, they had plenty of guns. Most of the time. An exception was during one of the assaults, one of the counterattacks during Stalingrad. Most of the time they had plenty of guns, but they didn't have enough bullets because, you know, they weren't quite prepared to be attacked. So they frequently ran out of ammo. So there's frequently situations where the Russian troops would be ordered to attack, especially early in the war, and they'd run out of ammo, like, an hour or 2 into the fight. In like a 6-hour assault, you're out of ammo and you've got a bayonet, and that's all you've got. The enemy at the gates scene is related to one of the emergency counterattacks carried out during Stalingrad. And during that counterattack, the unit that was arriving to Stalingrad the person in charge of logistics shipping across the river realized in that emergency situation, the docks where the troops were going to land was like literally under attack at the time. So it was send these troops in to protect the docks, or there might not be a position for them to defend when they fully arrive. And because they hadn't fully arrived, and Russian logistics aren't the best logistics in the world, the men had arrived, the bullets had arrived, the guns. Not all the guns had arrived yet. So it was an emergency situation. Usually the Russians do not send their troops into battle with no guns. But that was a situation where those units needed to go in, and they needed to go in now. So they went in with no guns. Well, they went in with partial guns. And they went in full on ammo. It was one of the weird. It was like sort of one of those counter-situational situations where Russians usually have plenty of guns and not enough ammo. Well, this is the situation where they don't have enough guns, but they got plenty of ammo. Although part of the reason they were going with plenty of ammo was this was also the main logistics pathway into the Stalingrad pocket. So all the logistics going to Stalingrad had to go through that path. So there's maybe an argument they were going in with the bullets meant for the guys they were reinforcing, because order of operations can be difficult when trying to do resupply. So they were going in not necessarily with their bullets, but they had bullets. They had plenty of bullets. And they in theory had guns, just they were like an hour late. Logistics can be complicated. But yeah, and enemy at the gates is... well, Stalingrad in general is a whole thing. Here we go. We need to upgrade that shrine. Let's upgrade that shrine. Little on wood. Which makes sense, we're doing a lot of walls. Good to see that that forest is growing back, although it is very much chopped down for the moment. We got an impending blizzard, so most of the wood I'm designated for harvesting is not getting harvested anytime soon. Twitch chat's going, couldn't you wait an hour? Jeez, hold timeout. Yeah, well, to be fair to the Germans that were attacking the Russians at that time, the intent of the attack was to drive the Russians out of Stalingrad and or force what's left in Stalingrad to surrender. And they didn't necessarily know where the Russians were landing, doing their resupply across the river. Like, they had a rough idea that probably, yeah, the Stalingrad docks were where the landings were going to happen, but yeah, it was definitely one of those scenarios where the guy in charge of sending the troops in recognized, I have to send these guys in now, or I might not be able to send them in situation. And yeah, the guns aren't here for an hour, but they gotta go in now, sort of thing. And that's the weird counterfactual where everyone's like, oh, the Russians send troops into battle with no guns. It's like, no, historically speaking, except for like this one situation that everyone knows about, usually it's the other way around. The Russians are always sending their troops in with guns and bayonets. More importantly, bayonets. But not always with bullets, because there's a bullet shortage. There's a chronic bullet shortage in the Russian army. Usually because the Russians have a bad habit of shooting it all off. But this is where, like, most armies, like, oh, you've got riflemen, you've got grenadiers or whatever, right? Often in capability of fighting troop count reports during World War II, the Russians would refer to their combat-capable troops as bayonets. So that's actually how they tracked the troops was, do we have guys with bayonets? Yes? Okay, then we got troops. They might not be the best troops, but they've got bayonets, they can fight. So yeah, most of the time, the Russians were going in under-equipped. It was lack of ammunition, not lack of guns, except for the one situation where everyone knows about because it's during one of the important parts of Stalingrad, and it is an important part of Stalingrad. Sending those troops in preemptively with a shortage of guns was arguably what saved the dock during that one engagement. Had the docks fall into the Germans, then the Stalingrad pocket probably would have collapsed because it would have been unable to do proper resupply. Yeah, as Twitch host says, it's what everyone remembers. Yeah, it's what everyone remembers. And then Stalingrad's also one of the battles where, again, you get the reports of, oh, the Russians shooting at their own troops, which again does happen. Although the few situations where it happens during Stalingrad are night assaults. And failed night assaults. So it's the Russian army, Russian troops get sent in during a night assault, and of course the assault fails. Frankly, the assault goes in, the assault fails, and so the Russian defenders hear gunfire, and then they hear people approaching their positions. So they open fire on what they think is a German counterattack, and it's actually the retreating Russians coming back from the assault. So there are situations, yeah, where the Russians do fire on themselves, but they're not firing on them for running away from an attack. They're firing on them because I think they're the Germans. Partially because I think that the Germans have so shot up their attack that the Germans are counterattacking, thinking they've given up the position, which they haven't. But yeah, it's Rich Head saying, "Damn, yeah, it's a lot of things that you hear. A lot of the myths of the Russian army they have a kernel of truth, but usually they're not like, oh, the Russians are stupid or evil or whatever. It's the Russians. A lot is going along for the Russians. The Russians are panicking. They're trying to do whatever they can to get an advantage in a situation, and that doesn't always work for them. Frequently doesn't work for them. And I forgot to move the animals. Okay, we've almost got the beads under control, so we probably want to actually farm that one next year. Which means it's time to put the next field down. Then fencing-wise, we're going to want fence gate, and we got a new merchant. So sell that to you. Transfer to the thing to sell to you. Anyway, unless I want to sell you planks, I don't have anything to sell you. We haven't set up a stable, so no cavalry for us yet. And yeah, if I had the money, I would definitely like to pick up the Eternal Ice of Amatok for the food spoil reduction, but Not today. Children growing up, which is good. 5 more livestock animals being born, so we're up to 6 chickens. We're gonna have some meat and hides from goats this year. We got another cow. Okay. Clover, work clover, clover, work clover. Clover, work clover. And then I think next year we're actually going to grow some stuff in this field. So, do you want to do wheat or do you want to do rye? I think we're going to do wheat. So wheat, wheat's heat tolerant, so we want it probably close to the end of the year. You're heat tolerant. You're also frost tolerant, so it doesn't really matter much. What do you want to do? Leeks. No, we'll do cabbage. There we go. So that's what the field's going to look like next year. Third merchant has arrived. Although I think the first one's probably about to go away. Yeah, the first one's leaving in 4 days. Which is a bit of a shame, because we might be able to, by selling pots, earn enough money to buy the thing we'd want to buy off the first one. But we're obviously going to sell some pots. 52 pots. To the trading post, please. Okay, after some deforestation, we've got enough wood back in. I'm not worried about wood stockpiles. That might also be going hand in hand with the fact that we did finally finish the walls, so the major wood consumption demands have slackened. Here, clover, work clover, clover, work clover, clover, work clover. That's delivered, yeah. Could even go ahead and ship another 18, I think. Be too worried. bricks. Got enough bricks, don't necessarily have enough money, but actually not got enough money. We're gonna upgrade the 3 root cellars over here. A bunch more storage. Upgraded altar. Well, the shrine upgrades to altar. Okay. Here, that's provided a bunch more, not fertility, desirability to the neighborhood. Which, given time and RNG, upgrades the homesteads to large houses. I say RNG because it depends upon whether or not the homestead can get all 3 types of food. Long enough to get upgraded. In theory, I believe we're providing 4 types of food. So, it's just, is there enough supply of the food for it to receive 3 of the 4 types? I think right's higher for fertility, so I'm gonna go right. And of course, there's a building on fire somewhere. Or was a building on fire somewhere. Presumably got put out. Crops ready for assignment. That's good to see. Then we can start planning the next field over here as well. We may have a problem with that deer. May have a problem with the deer. If we do, we do. It's not going to be the end of the world. And of course we need apiaries. I already got one there. There we go. Do you have space over there for another catcher? Convenient space. If it was flat enough, yes. Flatten tool, please. Flatten that square. Crops ready for assignment in one of the fields, yeah. about to get another point of knowledge. So crops ready for assignment. Okay. Here's a knowledge gained. I think it is time, as tempting as it is to go for the beautification, I think it is time to pick up paper printing press. I do want cheesemaker as well, but do the paper mill. We'll get some paper going. I think I've got the other resources we need for paper, which is water and flax, yeah. No one wants to be near the paper mill. And well, that's a big building. An awkward moment when you are so undesirable, you're gonna go outside the wall. Yeah, so undesirable, you're gonna go outside the wall. But yeah, the paper will help with knowledge generation. We're down to, it takes 15 months to get another point of knowledge, because they're getting a malice from not having paper in the academy. And the more knowledge you have invested, the more expensive it is to get the next point. So, writing these guys paper will get them going faster again. There we go. Yeah, we need the bricks, then we're gonna get paper. That'll help out. The farm as these farms come online next year, that's gonna provide a bunch more food variety, and semi-importantly, gonna provide grain, so we can start the process of generating grain production. Grain conversion. Storage, I should probably get like a barn. Not a barn, granary. So I meant to put the road up one. Oh, too late to fix that. Fields in. Got the planks? Yeah, I got the planks. We can do a granary there, a granary here. And then I was also going to put a few more. They're not storehouses. Root cellars. Settle food, store the food up here. And then I just need to get... this is going to be the food production. Need to get bakeries and a windmill. Windmill, of course, doesn't want to be near people. Because, well, people don't want to be near the windmill. For some reason. Three new villagers born. Okay. It's actually going to take a little while to build because I don't have the flax fiber. We're growing flax. Although if we don't have it right now, then that just means it's out of... We've already accounted for this year's making clothes. $240 meat made this year from harvesting probably 2 goats. Bad. Okay, top right we did beans. Top right over here will be beans. And that was my cabbage. And that makes this the root one. Anyway, once we get some flour going, we'll start setting up some bakeries, and that'll help with the food variety and food production. It's actually, the food state right now is a little bit concerning. We're at zero months of store food. Well, we're at 1 month of store food. Is the smokehouse not working? Might want a second smokehouse. Let's grab a second smokehouse. That'll help preserve the meat and fish. If we have surplus. And apparently we currently have surplus meat and fish. And basically no surplus smoked meat and fish, which is probably an indication I don't have enough smokehouses. Well, that's what's in storage, and that's not including the storage of what's in people's houses. Well, at least I don't think it does include people's houses. It might include people's houses. Stricken scurvy. Yeah, the middle of winter is when that would happen. hay. Eat. Here we go. And with that, we got our another set of farm cycle going up here. So if everything goes according to plan, we should be getting a decent amount more food coming in the form of more wheat, more beans. I don't want the other way around. More wheat, more beans, more cabbage, and some more root veg. I think out of our initial previous stuff, we were mostly getting root veg and beans. Oh, that maybe explains why I didn't feel like I was getting a lot of foodstuffs. The second batch of farms wasn't actually making any foodstuffs, it was making stuff to feed the animals and industry. So this is a bunch more food. Did I get around to... Oh, no, I got around to making the spot for it. Put it down. Oh, and that's a good fishing spot down there. I should get some fish down there. Fishing down there. Also some decent gathering. Well, it's going to gather down there as well. A couple nice little ponds down there for fishing in. Get some more food coming in because I'm looking at the food stockpile and going, eh. I know it's the end of winter, but I want that to probably be a little bit better. I should probably put a part break in here. But I'm going to wait until those get built so I remember to slightly adjust them. Don't have anything to sell you. And you're actually not actually trying to sell us a lot of stuff. Maybe the falling kiddings. Tempting. Oh, and I don't have the stuff to make the paper out of. At least we're growing some. It has estimated yield of more than the expectation. Okay. It might be that they're still planting. Maybe. I have lost stock have been born, so we got some stuff to harvest. Harvest 2 goats. Probably got some chicken. Didn't get a Yeah, so if it was 2 goats, it must be 3 chicken. Use that for process elimination. The traveling merchant has arrived. $330% fishing pond. Nice. Those aren't taking it. Merchant number 2. I can sell pots. I think I want to buy from you. No, not really. I could buy some weapons or shields or whatever, but no. It looks like 170% is the best we're going to get there. That's still pretty good. Then you were done. Although it's definitely not going to be as good as this lake here. 260%. Okay. Now that I got that extra fishing set up, I think we're in a good place to put a part break. City is definitely coming along. We're up to 404 people. The default... we hit the default in the pre-release build, the 0.9 build. The default maximum villagers is 500, so we're decently close to that, 404. I think this time we'll probably intentionally go over. We may intentionally raise the limit so we can actually fit the city limit, basically, in here with 2 neighborhoods. We're going to do at least one more stream. I think we're going to do at least one more stream and see if we can get up to tier 5 on all the housing. Obviously, that's mostly going to be improving food quality and providing more luxuries. We need to provide furniture. We need to provide glass. This is the state of the tech tree. I think technically you win by building one of the wonders. So maybe we'll try to go long enough to actually build one of the wonders. Although it would probably be either the eco or culture ones. Alright, scientific discovery, beautification, and pharmacy. Presumably all of beautification. Alright, scientific discovery, but not school of thought. Interesting. Even though the line goes right through. And then you require intensive animal farming, sector breeding grains, favored nation guilds. Yeah, this is the state where we're in the tech tree. I'm hoping that as we get paper going properly, we'll get through the tech tree a little bit faster, get some more techs coming in. Beautification, completing beautification would be nice. Don't necessarily need that resistance, although yield would be nice. Yield for the crops would be nice. Cheese making for storing the milk and such. Thanks to stream. Tomorrow is free call. Yes, tomorrow is free call. So the upcoming schedule, if you're watching on Twitch, is free call tomorrow. The day after that will be Endless Legends. We're going to see if we can actually go ahead and finish up the conquest in the next stream of Endless Legends. Thursday should be the return to Terra Invicta. We're making progress. We're down. We got a ship. We got ships out to Neptune. Everything that we need to destroy at this point is Neptune. or farther out in the system. Every once in a while, we're having to, the servants manage to make another alien nation that we just promptly crush. But we've definitely got good control of Earth in Terra Invicta. So, and then the day after that, which will be Friday we'll be doing Farthest Frontier. So we'll be back to this on Friday. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is the 5th part in the stream that recorded. So this is probably what's going up on Sunday. This is probably Sunday's YouTube part. So all that should probably be in your past. If you can't see it on YouTube, or if it hasn't been uploaded to YouTube because you've caught up and you want to see more, you can probably sneak over to Twitch, and the VODs on Twitch do stay up 14 days. I am recording this locally for upload to YouTube. So Twitch gets whatever the local internet can accept at the time. Whereas on YouTube, you're getting 1080p, usually 60 frames per second. Although the Farthest Frontier videos, because of the snow effects, I'm running 30 frames per second for upload to YouTube, just to make the file size a little bit smaller. That snow in particular makes the uploads take quite a while. So that's going to be the state of the streams over the next couple days. So be on the lookout for that content if you're watching on Twitch. And then if you're watching on YouTube, that should be the content you've seen over the last couple days. Although some of it presumably may not be all the way uploaded. Although those are all ongoing streams. So hopefully I haven't given too many spoilers if you're not up to date. If you're watching on Twitch and you want to get any comments responded to, this is probably your last opportunity to get them responded to. If you're watching the Twitch VOD later, because the VOD does stay up 14 days, and you want a comment responded to, you can always hop over to YouTube. YouTube's pretty good with notifications. I respond to most comments on YouTube, assuming there's something to respond to in the comment. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wish you all the best of luck and a good time. If you're watching on YouTube, you can expect there to be a part up tomorrow. I do have a poll up on Reddit for what the next Shadow Empire stream will be. So if you're interested in Shadow Empire and want to vote in that poll, feel free to go over to that edit. Twitch is asking, you're staying on a bit longer after Twitch. Yes, if there's active commenting going on, I'll try to respond to comments on Twitch, even after I stop the YouTube recording. So if there's a little bit of lag, I think, between when I talk on Twitch and talk on see the comments. So that way I can respond to comments that come in as I end the recording. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wish you all the best of luck and a good time, and bye for now.